It's the best New Orleans Pelicans podcast in the world, and we talking centers today.
First took away. That's the best. Get your money's worth out.
Hey, that was not a joke. We are the best New Orleans Pelicans podcast in the world. We are the best podcasters in the world. I'm Pastor Lito. You see 5. That's my dog Chris. That's my boy Russ over there in the corner. Check this out. Guys, what's up? How y'all doing?
On this great Sabbath day, we appreciate you pulling up, having us here gathered, respectfully, Pastor.
No problem. Peace be unto you. So yeah, man, we talking centers today. But before we get into that, let's pay the proper respects to the people at the Vicknair Law Firm. They provide sustenance for this show, so we can provide information and continuance to you all, right? So if you hurt, 504-500-1111. Holla at the people at the Vicknair Law Firm. That's Scott Vicknair. We'll play the commercial later because, you know what I'm saying, y'all know how that goes. But yo, check this out, man. The Pelicans need a center, guys. I don't know if y'all have any idea of who's on the roster. I'm sure y'all do. I'm just being sarcastic. But the Pelicans need a center. So we are supposed to talk, Ayton and Kessler. Then we go get into some other options. But before I get y'all thoughts on that, I just want Chris to answer this. Chris, you been seeing Olympic Tice? You been seeing them? You been paying attention to Olympic Tice?
It's not a thing. It's not real.
So the 18 points, did he not? No.
It's not real.
Okay.
Look. If he scores 18 points in any NBA game, including preseason, I buy the fucking jersey.
I want that in stone.
That's on wax.
It's not happening.
Okay. 18 points in any of the 82 games he plays.
Preseason, regular season,
Hey,
all season.
You know who he's competing for minutes with?
I got to repeat it again. If he scores 18 points in any NBA sanctioned game, I'll buy his jersey.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Is that same statement true for your boy, heavy foot, Trey?
Heavy foot is crazy.
If Trey Jemison scores 18 points in a game, will you buy a jersey and wear it on a show?
Damn.
It's 2 bets out there, Chris. What you gonna do?
This man got nervous.
It's fucked up, though, because he's probably capable of actually scoring 18 points in a game.
Wait, so you think Trey Jemison is capable, but Daniel Tice is not capable?
Because I saw him in garbage minutes, like with Memphis. Like he may have even scored 18 last season. You know what I'm saying? So let's say the season goes south and Trey Jemison is starting at center and people are missing, he might actually have a chance. But I'm not backing down, dog. Trey Jemison ain't scoring 18 points. By the time the season starts, he's gonna be in Australia or he's gonna be on somebody's practice squad in the NFL. It's not. It's
a hell of a start to the show.
That's crazy, man.
That's a heck of a start to the show.
Shout out to Trey Jemison, man. Anyway, so I had nothing positive to even add after shouting him out. It was just.
We just why are we throwing out the show shouting out Trey Jemison? Why is the bar that low?
Oh man. So listen, man. It's we supposed to be talking Ayton and Kessler as options, or the main 2 options, I suppose, and then we can add on to maybe other free agent centers, or if y'all got anybody in mind, if the chat got anybody in mind. I guess Russ, give me your thoughts on either one of those 2 guys, and which one would you prefer? That's a little crazy, but go ahead and answer the question.
Jesus Christ.
Trying to set me up. Like, from a basketball perspective.
Which one would you prefer is insane.
From a basketball perspective, I'd rather Walker Kessler just for a lot of reasons. I mean, economically, it makes a lot more sense. The trade's easier to accomplish. In theory, you probably have to give up less, from an asset. Look at it. And I think he even more so than Ayton, he checks one of those big boxes that we've talked about for years now. I know Chris always jokes about it. Like, we haven't had a true rim protector, like a defensive presence on this roster. I don't know. So, like, definitely not since Zion's been here. And I don't know if he's led the league in blocks or if he's been up there per 36, since he's entered the NBA, but like is a legitimate deterrent at the rim. And so I think for those reasons, like I would much rather Walker Kessler than Ayton.
Go ahead, anybody. 5, Chris.
It's real simple. I mean, again, if you watch Deandre Ayton last season, dude averaged a free throw a game, getting paid too much money, right? Like, we don't need that. We don't want those problems. Although I think he needs like a guard to be successful. I'm just talking about from an Ayton standpoint. I would, again, prefer Walker Kessler just in general, but just from an Ayton standpoint, it seems like you got to get him the ball to be involved. When you look at Walker, it's more so like he's just an asset. You don't have to give him the ball. You don't have to work around him. He's just an asset to be alongside Zion. If you thought about Deandre Ayton, he would probably want to be co-featured at some point, depending on the lineup. And I don't want that headache. We already got enough, to deal with at the top of the roster.
Let me ask you this, Fab. Because you didn't mention anything about economics, that was, I think, just purely basketball. If they made the same amount, if their contracts were the exact same for the next 2 years, would it matter to you?
Oh yeah, you talking about?
Like, let's just say Ayton and Kessler both, just some arbitrary number, whatever. Like, let's just say they made $10 million a year. Okay. They both had 2 years, $20 million left on their deal. Would your opinion change on which you would rather acquire this year?
I'd probably less demonstrative about acquiring Ayton, but I still would want Walker Kessler more. It's just the play style. Just too many mid-range jumpers. Is already clogged in that area. Nah, he's not. Just not the type of player I would want alongside Zion Williamson.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't think they need another offensive first addition. I think the beauty in acquiring Kessler is his strengths don't require the ball. So, and his strengths also complement what this team and this franchise has needed for a while. Five said the point, Ross said the point as well. Again, like it you can't even think of a rim protecting option. Like someone who's even like good at rim protecting in spurts that this team has had. So because you don't even know what that accessory or that option looks like, it really limits. Like if you think this team was good defensively over the past couple of years, like could they be the best in basketball with the rim protecting option? I don't know. Go ahead, Ross.
No, you said something interesting because I and then you followed it up with a point that I think, like you said, you don't want another offensive first center, and I think there's a part of me that does. Like in this situation between these two players, I would just rather Walker Kessler because he's elite defensively, and like he just costs nothing, and the deal's easier to get done. But I think if I had my choice with the roster we have right now, I actually would rather an offensive first center, like just somebody that can make Zion and Murray and they can make everyone else's life even easier on the offensive end. Because I'm at a point, in theory, like Murray and Herb should be able to do enough to deter, like to keep us afloat. I mean, think about it. Last year, you didn't have Murray and you had JV. And I know Lito will jump in and give me some stat about JV doing something or another, like shots at the rim. That feels like a fraudulent stat to me, but I guess it was true. The point is, I mean, I watched that man not be able to stay in front of anyone for 3 years. And I guess my thought is that if you could get a legitimate offensive first center, I think I would prefer that. It's just so difficult to find one, and it's difficult to get that deal done. Like for say an Ayton or somebody like that. Ayton's maybe not the ideal offensive first center I'd want, but like that would be more interesting to me, I guess.
hold on, before we move on.
Yeah.
You said something about Herb and Dejounte. I think that leans more towards Walker, like being the option, because now they get to play with somebody being help side, and we haven't seen Herb have somebody help side and have another guard opposite of him to switch. If you want to lean defense first, if that's Willie Green's take on this, like that just seems like the more and even affordable but best option you have, rather than going for somebody like Deandre Ayton that needs a point guard to get him involved and other things like that. But you really just, although Dejounte can do that, but again, you're asking him to get everybody involved. Just doesn't seem like a ideal standpoint for him.
So let me just say this, and if you asking me my thoughts on Deandre Ayton, you have to go back and listen to Lexi Brown talk about him on Gil's podcast, and that is my exact thoughts. And I cannot get her. I'm not going to repeat what she said, but the phrasing of it, yeah. So, but anyways, we talk about Kessler's defense, but in the interim, the thing is, to be honest, they have the same defensive rating. They both at 114. I know ratings don't matter, and I know that the eye test actually matters, but I'm saying if we're going off paper, on paper, I'm being Justin right now. On paper, you got 16 and 11 versus 9 and 8 with the same defensive rating. Talk to me, Phil. What you got? Go ahead.
Man, go ahead, Bob.
Oh, you know that shit don't matter, bro. Like, them stats you can kind of throw out the window. Like, one was on a team that both of them were on bad teams in a sense, but one had an identity, the other one didn't. Nah, bro. You just got to worry about what fits your team rather than what the numbers say. If we're really talking about paper, the only paper that matters is the money, and then the money just tells you like you can't really afford the other option. You really don't want that problem, so you rather go with the cheaper option to fill the void that you actually need.
And look, if you got to think about it, like the way I look at it with him is that like you would, if you're bringing in Deandre Ayton to this situation and roster, like you're selling him on, if you want him to buy in and have a consistent motor, you're selling him on a team that can win a playoff series, that can win multiple playoffs. So you're telling him that he's one of the finishing pieces, like he's the center that this team, the franchise has lacked. Same thing you told Dejounte, but just that center. Well, if Phoenix couldn't figure it out and that relationship couldn't last, you think he's going to come to New Orleans with even a larger variety of offensive pieces or players to be involved? And that, like, it puts, to me, that puts a lot of pressure on your new point guard again, and or on a coaching staff that couldn't figure out how to best satisfy Jonas when he was on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like you couldn't fit. We had issues with that. We watched the team, the players that were on the floor, ignore Jonas when Jonas had switches. Jonas had guards on them. So, like, I don't even think the team is structured properly just from an intellect element, like consistently. And I don't know if the coaching staff is consistently accountable enough for him to feel it's just as an important piece as some of the other players that are going to be involved. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather them give this team a tool that they haven't seen. And the thing about Kessler, man, is that like he also fits what we've seen from this team the past couple years or the past 3-4 years of playing 20 minutes a game. Like, splitting center minutes with someone else. He's used to that already. There's a lot of benefits. Y'all talked about the financial elements of it, but if we just talking play style and we talking just a player, I haven't seen enough evidence that you'd be able to get the best version out of Ayton and not leave frustrated. And that's a big gamble when you have to pay him that amount of money and you don't trust your staff and you don't trust some of the players to help maximize him as well as with all the other guys that you got to take care of. Pause.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, like, I don't think either of these guys are an option. Like, I don't think either of these players are coming to New Orleans. I don't think, like, and I think at this point, like, the reasons are obvious. Ayton, it's just basketball economics. Like, we can't make that trade because it puts you in the same position next year. He makes too much money. Like you just not like you're not making that trade. It doesn't make any sense. And Portland's not going to throw in any other like asset to get that deal done right now. Like, so to me, yeah, like it seems interesting because like the salaries sort of align, but like that's just not a deal that I think the Pelicans are going to make. I just think they like Brandon more than Ayton too, to be fair. And if you were going to get Kessler, it had already been done. For me, it makes absolutely zero sense for the Utah Jazz to trade you Walker Kessler in a Brandon Ingram deal unless like you're throwing in multiple first-round picks, which again, like the Pelicans aren't going to do that for Walker Kessler. I just don't see either of these happening, and especially the Utah one, because if it was going to happen, they'd already done that. But like for where Utah is as a franchise right now, like, why the hell would they trade a 22-year-old center that's already shown like enough NBA life, has a useful skill set, makes almost nothing, aligns with the other players that they've been drafting's age range? Like it just.
Let me ask you. How about this? What happens if they sign Lauri to an extension soon? Let's say that if the latest reports are true about them being closer to figuring out something. Let's say they sign the extension, right? And what if the argument is, this is from my perspective, right? I question how much they like Walker Kessler.
Yeah,
like you already had him coming off the bench for a lot of games last season. You already had him in the summer league again this particular year. That can't be somebody, at least from my perspective, that you absolutely love, and it should be that difficult to keep. And if you're gonna have to make a decision on him soon financially, and you're not sure on him, I mean, at that point, especially if you can get Lauri to sign going forward, maybe at that point, regardless of what you do with Brandon, maybe Danny Ainge looks at Brandon as an asset that he can flip down the line, or maybe say, all right, well that's open cap space for me to make the decision that I want to make versus having to make it on the center. I'm just
no, and look, and we've been down that road. In my opinion, I just think if ain't like Markkanen's extension would have nothing to do with whether they did that Kessler trade with BI. Like it really doesn't change like the value prop for them. Like I think they'd have just already done it. I mean, it puts them in the same position they're in right now of like, do they want to keep Brandon long term? Like you've got all of these, dudes you just drafted in the last 2 years, Keontae George, Hendricks, whoever the hell they drafted this year. Like it just wouldn't make a ton of sense because the risk.
The Mormon from Duke, can't think of his name.
Yeah, Filipowski, but they drafted somebody else too. Who did they? Were they one of the teams? Did they take Collier?
Yeah.
And then they also took old boy's brother, Cody Williams. So they've got a bunch of guys kind of in that 19 to 22 age range, and the risk of it's not like they're in the position with Kessler that we're in with Brandon. Like, what's the risk of just keeping him? Like $3 million falls off the books next year. Like,
yeah,
all right, yeah. As opposed to us where it's this big expiring. I don't know. I'm just of the opinion that like if they were going to do now, if you were talking about John Collins, I think they trade John Collins yesterday. But I don't think a lot of teams want John Collins. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's not going to be done. It's just in my opinion that we're just beating our head against a wall talking about these two guys because I just don't see it.
Before we move on, Ross, you said they like Brandon a hell of a lot more than they would like. See, there was an Instagram post, some dude, going viral, whatever. He was like gets a lot of people fucked up. People get pregnant off like. People put debt behind all types of shit behind like what makes the most business sense? What makes the most basketball sense in this, from this standpoint? I think what Griffith, we talked about this on the last show. Griffith's afraid that Danny Ainge is going to do the exact thing that he wishes he could do. I think that's really the holdup in all of this. Like, you don't want Danny Ainge to Danny Ainge you. Yeah, bro, you kind of already did it to yourself. Like you wasted his value, and now someone else is going to reap the benefits that you've already lost. You might as well recoup on some of the value by trading him away and let somebody else deal with it. Maybe it happens, maybe it does, but that's not your problem. Your point of view should be what's best for the Pelicans right now, and Griff is doing what's best for him. That's the issue.
Well, Lito, let me ask you this question, because I guess we can sort of start to move off this topic. I mean, do you think this is the roster we start the opening night with? Did I cut out? I'm sorry.
No. I do.
Feels like we're spending a lot of time talking about these like hypothetical trades that just are like I kind of think this is it. I don't.
I've been saying that for nothing is happening. Nothing is gonna happen. I mean, we basically like just throwing coins in the well and praying some shit floats to the like. Nothing is happening.
This is like when Smokey mama gave him $1 and asked him to go get some cigarettes, and he like, this ain't enough, and she like, make it enough.
Make it enough.
This is what this shit feel like make it enough. Like, this is all we got. Like, no, you just sitting up here on the phone and shit, bullshitting, knowing you got money, but you don't want to give me the money. You want me to cover the other ends of the cigarettes.
Dog, it's like, unfortunately, there's nothing for us to talk about. Like, we basically just ad-libbing because there's the Pelicans have, they made a trade, and then they signed Tice, and then they signed Carlo, and then they signed Trey, and it's like, here you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else to talk about. I'm gonna just say this point, and then we're gonna move on. Even if you trade Walker Kessler, or even if you trade for him, do y'all believe that he wouldn't pull the same thing with JV and bench him in the third and start JRE over him? Like, what would be the difference?
Well, see, the difference is he ain't like JV where he don't need the basketball. Like, he not, an offensive threat. So it's not like, oh, you could just give him the ball in the post. Well, we wouldn't want that from him because we know he can't do that. Well, we don't know if he can't do that. We just assume that he can't do that. He wouldn't be like JV.
But I'm saying the switchability, just the switchability part from like the ideal player that Willie Green would want to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same a slow 7 foot. I'm not saying that he's slow in the sense of just being slow, but in terms of like Larry Nance and JRE, like, he don't have the same foot speed.
But the problem is the type of player that Willie Green is imagining doesn't exist.
He's a fairy tale.
Like, you can't, like, it doesn't, or if they do exist, you can't trade for. Like, those guys that exist, you're not, the other teams aren't giving them up. Like, and even if you find, like, we saw it with Larry Nance, who in some perspectives, when he was upright and healthy, he accomplished what Willie Green wanted, but it was only for a certain period of time because he was 6'7". You were going to wear him down. So your only other alternative at that point is just punting the center position for something to look like they're doing, and majority of the game going small. I mean, it's just it is what it is.
I guess, man. So let's move on from the center position for the Pelicans. Let's talk about something that is equally as important: shooting. Looking at the roster for the Pelicans, you added some guys. You added Chris's favorite player, Trey Jemison. They drafted Missy. You got Carlo into the fold. But do y'all think the Pelicans have enough shooters?
I've been curious about this question, like, because I think Justin kind of brought it up last week. Like, enough shooters to do what? Like, what's the goal? Yeah. Like, this is a what's the goal situation. Like, enough shooters to make the play-in, enough shooters to win a playoff series. Like, enough.
Okay,
shooters.
let's start there. Do they have enough shooters to win a playoff series?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you just look at it, a lot of it for me comes down to what you think Herb Jones is, right? Like, I think CJ McCollum is a great shooter. Okay, I think Murray is a capable shooter. I think Trey Murphy is a great shooter. So, in my opinion, you've got two really good shooters, and then you've got Murray, who's adequate, and then you've got a wild card of Herb Jones. If Herb Jones is going to knock down 42% from the corners, like, yeah, you're fine in the regular season, and I think you're even fine to win a playoff series. Does that number change, though, right? Like, I think that's the key for me, because in theory, I think this year Herb should get more open looks. He should. Trey should even get some more open looks. So, I don't know. I think you've got enough. I think you have enough shooting to, in the right matchup, win a playoff series. But if you're talking about like something further than that, I mean, you just got to go look at the teams that won the last handful of years, right? Like Boston this year had a ton of shooting. Even their two centers were both very, very good shooters, Porzingis and Horford. Like that team was loaded with shooting. Year before that, you had Denver, right? Which I think that year Michael Porter had a great shooter. Jamal Murray had a really good shooting year. Caldwell Pope, I think, was like an elite 3-and-D guy and shot 40-something%. So if you're going to start talking about making the finals or something like that, I don't know if you want to have that conversation. But
when you really look at this, I mean, the Boston Celtics averaged like 16.5 made threes a game in the regular season. In the postseason, they averaged 14.5. The Pelicans, on the other hand, averaged like 12.5 during the regular season. It dropped down to 8.8. Like, that's your difference. One, you're going to shrink your lineup, right? You're going to shrink your lineup. So the people that are playing, or your top 8 guys, have to be able to shoot. You didn't play Jordan Hawkins. You didn't play what's your kinfolk name, Ross?
Matt
Ryan. Like, CJ didn't get open looks because they couldn't create an advantage. Trey Murphy had to shoot from 40 feet away. How do you generate those looks? And you didn't generate them really in the regular season. Really, they were pretty much broken off broken plays and guys just taking advantage of different matchups. How do you do that in the playoffs? And you lose Najee, which was a decent shooter, in my opinion. Hopefully Jose can continue his ascension before it's hurt his thumb. Like, he was shooting the ball pretty well. That's really your issue, right? Like, the guys that are going to be in your roster, not on your roster, but in your lineups come playoff season, are they going to be able to knock shit down? And to be honest, history tells you probably not. Damn, I told you, Ross, you were looking white, bro. Told you.
So a little bit of what y'all both said. Like, I don't think I think the team has enough shooting talent. I don't think that they have the right philosophy, like, that's being taught and that's being practiced and that's being preached consistently to take advantage of it. Like, if we had to talk for multiple seasons and keep hearing about it, every time the Pelicans shot over 43s, it was like a fucking celebration. You might as well the second line that was in the arena was there strictly for them shooting 43s, because everyone kept saying that was the goal, but we kept talking about how often they weren't doing it. So, that's an issue beyond just the players. So, do they have the talent, enough shooting talent? Sure. But do they have, will you match that? I have my questions with that. And will the mentality match that? Will you give certain guys that are shooting specialists a longer avenue to fail and to go through slumps and just regular shit that happens? Or will you look at the fact that what they can't do are the things that they struggle with and use that reasons to not play them and play whoever the new bench darling, is that comes from comes out the mud. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think the talent is there, but it would have to be a real mentality switch and from the staff down, even some of the players to match what you're talking about enough shooting. They had enough shooting in some respects last year. Efficiency says that, but the volume didn't. That's on a few people. And some you could argue that they added more talent. I mean, more shooting talent. If Herb Jones is real as a shooter, if Dejounte Murray is real as a shooter, you got something there. But will the volume be preached to match what you're asking me? And I mean, the record, the history shows that it won't.
What's the goal then?
One to Chris's point. So I mean, I just looked it up real quick. You're the last 4 NBA champions, Boston, Milwaukee, and Golden State were all in the top 5 in 3-pointers made in their season. The only team that wasn't in the top 5 in 3-pointers made was the Nuggets, and they had Jokic, who was just a totally unstoppable force, one of the best passers in the NBA, gets great look. So I mean, last year the Pelicans were like 18th or 19th. So I agree. That one's almost, I think, less on the players and more on the strategy.
So with that being said, I mean, just going down the roster, we talked about the talent and stuff, but I mean, okay, your 2 best players don't shoot threes. So right, get that out of the way. Trey is great at his job. CJ he's gonna produce volume. Jose has been killing it. He's been lighting it up in the Olympics and the qualifiers. Hopefully that carries over into the regular. Jose shot the ball actually really good last year also. Jordan Hawkins, you look forward to having a guy like him be able to capitalize on what you think he could be. Now I'm with Chris and I'm with Five. Like how the ability to make mistakes and not get pulled and find his rhythm in the flow of the game. Adding that Dejounte Murray and I guess Antonio Reeves, depending on how that goes. I don't even know if Matt Ryan will play. Like, to be honest, I still don't see a pathway for Matt to play. But my question to y'all is Ross, you mentioned Herb shooting 42%. Do you think he can repeat that?
I think he can because I've seen enough volume from the last year and a half, and I think the looks he should get should be better. But we talk about these other players and they don't matter. For this conversation, they just don't, because there's not going to be enough opportunity. We're sitting here talking about the really good teams of the last handful of years. Well, who was getting up the most threes for Boston? Tatum, White, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, all these other guys. Is Willie Green going to commit to playing a Matt Ryan? Here's your example, okay? Sam Hauser last year played 20 minutes a night on that TBA champion. Sam Hauser played 20 minutes a night. Is Willie Green going to commit to playing a similar-ish player? Call it Matt Ryan, call it Jordan Hawkins, call it whichever one of those basically shooter-only players at this point in their career. Is Willie Green going to commit to that? Are they going to commit offensively to a style conducive to that player being allowed to, I don't want to say fail on the other end or fail in other aspects of the game, but to work through struggles, right? That's not their best attribute. Are they going to be allowed to do that? Are we willing to play that style of basketball? I have seen nothing in the 3 years Willie Green's been here to say yes to that. So it's almost pointless to talk about the fact that Jordan Hawkins could be a really good shooter, or that Matt Ryan is a really good shooter, or whoever, or the new Reeves, whoever. They're just not going to get the opportunity based on your head coach and the way he wants to play. And so, I think Herb Jones can shoot 41% again. But you have to have these other players excel in that role, and I just don't know if they're going to be given the opportunity.
Yeah, that's facts. I mean, we know as much as the Pelicans know, and they haven't shown that they know much. So I guess we talk shooting, right? So let's talk. We talked top starting 5 last week. Who is the first player off the bench?
I mean, Trey Murphy. If you had like if you could bet on this, Trey Murphy would probably his odds would probably be the highest right now.
You think higher than Herb?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I might argue with you.
Look, Ross, I'd argue that shit. If you throw in politics and Brandon Ingram is still on this team, I'd argue that they're gonna be on the bench together.
Brandon and Herb?
No. Herb and Trey.
That's what I'm saying. And I think I'm saying I would probably argue with you that Herb would be first off the bench.
Before Trey. God. No, they gotta arrive. They gotta come in the game together. That wouldn't make it. There's no way. Like you would have to set. Ain't no first man up at that point.
Yeah,
it's first two.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I mean, now that I think about it, but there's no way in hell you.
All right.
Don't you have to have them both? You know.
Well, play devil's advocate. Brandon Ingram picks up 2 early fouls. Who gets this up?
Well, at that point, Ross, right? That's fucked up, man.
Not necessarily. Like, yeah, I guess it is. And I think that's part of the reason Herb is going to play more is just because there's not that many. I mean, Trey's not checking in for a guard ever, and I think that for me is why I would say Zion's going to play a ton. If Brandon's there, he's going to play a ton. Like some center is going to play. Whoever it is, and Herb is just so versatile. That's a good question. That's
a good question.
What do you think, Five?
I say Herb's going to get it. Pause. Herb's going to check into the game before Trey. Just for that simple fact, the versatility, right? Like it's not really a drop. Again, this is fucked up because you're talking about Brandon. There's no real drop off, right? You could just Herb can play the corners, and everybody else just gets to cook. Then there's probably a little bit more space, and defensively, you get to see him with Dejounte earlier than predicted. So this fits what Willie Green really wants to do, but politics.
All right, wait, hold on now, because now we really talking basketball. So hold on. Let's say neither are in foul trouble. Let's say nobody's in foul trouble, and you are making your regular subs. Let's say Herb and Trey come in the game. I don't care what the score is. I don't care what the situation is. It's the end of the first quarter or halfway in the first quarter. Who's subbing out?
Yeah, CJ and Brandon. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So not the center.
Fuck.
Do you just lean going small early?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say. All right, let's say 6 minute mark, right? Like,
okay.
Sometimes they do that. I would go CJ and Brandon, and I'll go Herb, and then that way you can kind of see them. This would all make sense if you had a center, but still, with Tice, I guess you'll still look at it like, okay, Dejounte spacing with Trey, then you still have Herb and the other corner, and Dejounte with the ball with Zion and somebody in the dunking spot. I think they can live like that and survive and that way Zion can thrive with space and somebody else that can handle the ball. I would do that.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, dog. Like, I still don't know what the rotation is. See, the thing is, the rotation. We talking starting 5. Like, I cannot wait till the season starts to see which way the starting 5 and the bench rotation goes, because it's a lot of questions for real. People still think Missy gonna be starting at center, so that's a whole nother thing. I don't know.
Even to this point, like if I'm CJ, I'm actually begging to come off the bench. Like theoretically, like I'm begging to come off the bench because I know multiple games that he could have like this, where it's all just catch and shoot, and you get to play against like lesser talent instead of like. If you look at last year, some of his best lineups were when CJ played with
Jonas,
Trey, and when CJ played with Jose.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those were some of like his. If you look at the advanced numbers, those were really some of like. So I mean, there is some I think credence to what Five is saying there. If you dig into last year's numbers a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't have to handle the ball. He gets to play off, like that's his true position. And yeah, there isn't anybody else that can shoot like theoretically, like would be able to shoot like him if he just had. I mean, unless there's like Trey out there with him. Everything's going through him, but there's also like the void of he doesn't have the pressure of going against the elite defenders on the other end for 30 some odd minutes a game.
I just don't think the franchise has the balls to make that call or to even have a real discussion with CJ, because then like the financials come into it as well for CJ. He's next year he's an expiring contract. He's like, and if I'm him, I'm like, wait, you want me to change my value already? Like you want me to lessen myself and lessen my worth out here in a situation where y'all may end up moving on for me, or I may hit to free agency before I've really shown that that's where I deserve to be. Nah, I'm gonna be in the starting lineup and I'm gonna figure it out there. I'm still setting myself up for one more deal before I get the hell up out of here.
Well, even if that's his mentality, like it just goes back to coaching, man. If like this is a tough situation, but it's not impossible to solve. The one thing that I hope, just assume Brandon is around for the whole year, okay? With whatever, like it seems that might be the direction this is headed. Assume that that's the case. The one thing that we know we don't need to see, that we have enough evidence on, that we have enough data on, is just find a creative way to stagger Brandon and Zion's minutes. Like we just don't need to just keep digging that hole. Like they're both in their own ways quality players. Like I just see someone said, in reality, Brandon probably should come off the bench. That's not going to happen. But I think that is the most creative and potentially effective solution. I really do. It's not going to happen, but I think it's if you were just if you had somebody who didn't care and was just making the rules and was going to do the best thing possible, like Brandon could still play 30 minutes off the bench. And I think it would make him better. I think we'd be able to put him in better lineups that would like accentuate his positives more. It's unfortunate because it's not going to happen. But in either case, I just hope they don't continue to just try this Brandon Zion thing. Like, man, I would almost put Herb in or put Trey in for Brandon like stupid early, 4 minutes, like at the 5 minute mark. And just start staggering the minutes and be creative about it. Like it would take Brandon growing up a little and accepting that role, but
Well, good luck with that, Ross. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the tweet of the week now. This is the tweet of the week. Shout out to this guy, whoever he is. I love Wemby, but Daniel Tice had him in jail. And I'm barely seeing it because he's a media darling. Wow. Back to Chris. My bad, Five. What you got?
My bad. I didn't have anything. Nah. I think it's funny, bro. I think we're gonna see games like this. I mean, again, Jose Alvarado's cooking in FIBA. I mean, the Olympics as well. Will he be able to do those things when he gets into a Pelicans uniform? He won't have the necessary freedom. Like Daniel Tice is hooping, yeah. He's playing defense on Wemby. The rules will be a little bit different. He can probably be a little bit more physical than he would be able to do in the NBA. Again, he's a media darling. He's probably going to get calls in the NBA that he doesn't get over there. Like, yeah, cool. Shit happens, but I don't think they're going to play with each other 4 times this year. We'll see. We'll see what Daniel Tice does. We'll see in person.
Real. Chris, you got nothing? That's cool. So let's talk playmaking. This team lacked a lot in the fourth quarter. last year. Like they were the status out there. I don't remember the exact number. I think it's 0-24, some crazy like that. So again, adding Dejounte Murray to this team, facilitation, leadership, guidance. How does Dejounte, Brandon, and Zion, how do they co-op on the playmaking?
I think the easier, I think transition would, be a lot of the easier options, of course. But I think if we're talking when they're setting up offensively and outside of like staggering minutes, and I think who you have these guys, what type of lineups that you have these individuals in also matters. Like DeJounte, he thrives having someone who can set him a good screen. Like that's where in the half court his best abilities, his ability to get and weave in and out of the mid range, into the lane, some of his passing strengths, his ability to finish at the rim. But if you don't have that, might be a little bit tougher for him in those respects. I think what I would like to see from them is they're starting their offense from further out. I think especially if you're running some of these lineups that still don't have the right adequate modern space, you should start your offense further out. And whether that's Brandon coming to set a screen, or whether that's Trey, whether that's Zion or whoever the center is, whatever the case may be, and then kind of play off of that. And so whether Zion is in the corner as they traditionally like to do, or you have him at the wing, I think you set yourself up best either way, no matter who has the basketball. If you are starting this offense out earlier, and maybe if you're starting out further away from the basket, it allows even easier jumpers, easier or earlier shot clock opportunities. How often did we see them struggling with 10 or 5 seconds trying to figure out what to do? You know what I'm saying? And for example, that CJ can set up 25, 30, 30 plus feet to shoot threes in the half court. Trey will live out there. If you got Dejounte Murray and you can run a high screen and roll, and you got whoever the guard center is, guard space. I hope. I hope you didn't bring him in to just run elbow.
Well, no, but like you bring up a good point. Like, who's the best screener on the team?
Daniel
Tice.
It ain't none of the other. It ain't like any of the other players that we've been talking about. I've watched all of them, and not a damn one of them can screen for shit. So that's problematic.
Screening is such a teachable skill. It can't be. No, it is difficult. I'm not gonna be like I'm just shitting on the skill that it is, but damn, it ain't. Draymond Green once called himself the best screener of all time. I don't think that to be true, but I think it's a learned skill. You could learn how to screen well. It just takes the willingness to do so. And I think some guys feel like if they're the screener, they're not going to get the ball. If you watch Steph Curry, bro, I think that dude's a really good screener. One, because he knows if he screens really good, he's probably going to get open. Somebody's going to jump something because they're afraid of giving up a layup. It just takes the basketball intelligence to do so.
Bro, so Dejounte, obviously, me and Chris did a show about this, but you would look for him to be Spurs Dejounte in that last season with the Spurs, who averaged 9 assists. But yeah, right, I feel you, Ross. Comparatively, though, you still got to let Zion be him at some point. And obviously, if you're trying to raise Brandon's trade capital, Brandon got to have a basketball also. How does this work?
Who's going to sacrifice? Who's going to sacrifice between Brandon and Zion? And what I mean by that is, I'm not even talking about not having a basketball. Who's going to do the other shit on the floor that's going to help make DeJounte's life easier? That's going to help your shooters' life easier. Who's gonna cut? Who's gonna shoot the open three? Who's gonna shoot the jump shot? Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna come into camp in shape? Who's gonna come into camp motivated? Like, that's the question, that I have as the roster currently stands here today. Because if the answer at any point becomes we're watching Zion we're not having to talk about peak Zion close to the All-Star break or after the All-Star break, well, maybe that changes things. But are they giving maximum effort? Is Brandon looking to not sleepwalk into sets?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to, is he going to attack the same way when he's getting the basketball on plays where he's a decoy? Is he going to take on it? Like these are all the questions. But when you have this amount of offensive talent, somebody got to be the CJ Mccollum. Somebody got to be the guy that said, all right, I'll change. I'll sacrifice. I'll do more if you want to win. So, I mean, to me, it comes down to those or to Brandon and Zion, but for different reasons.
Well, if that's the case, then you'd have to know the goal to understand that, right? You'd have to know the purpose to really understand. And to be honest with you, Chris, I don't want to see that shit. Like Zion's sacrifice better be like he show up to camp in shape. He better be, the first one in. Like, yeah, I want to hear all the good shit. I want to hear that. But he better not sacrifice another motherfucking thing. Like, nah, don't take the back seat shit. Fuck that. We've been waiting to see you at your peak or into your prime. I think this is where you need to, kind of take off. Like, don't be second fiddle to nobody. Don't lose in a sprinting contest. Don't lose in a jumping contest, a shooting contest, even though your jumper ain't all that. Neither is mine. But all I'm saying is, like, I want Zion to win at all costs. And if that hurts Brandon's, ego or, his potential to, move on to somewhere else or get another contract, so fucking be it. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Some dogs got to eat. Some dogs need kibbles and bits.
The irony for me is you talk about Murray's last year in San Antonio, and the center on that team is one of the best screeners in the entire NBA, Jakob Poeltl, who I think would be great on this roster. That's here nor there. And we just don't have that player. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say you want the best attribute from player X, but you're not providing the necessary other skills to unlock that attribute. So and I think when Chris talks about like somebody having to sacrifice, well, who's going to sacrifice? Like, who is that player? Right? I'm not saying take less shots. I'm not saying these other things, but like someone is going to have to do some other basketball things. Like Jonas isn't there anymore. Somebody's got to rebound the fucking ball. Like these are not like, these are basketball things. These are not like somebody's got to be the leader and somebody's got to, show up on time. No, when the game starts, somebody got to rebound that motherfucker. Like somebody's got to set a screen or you're just not going to win anything. And I guess that for me is where like I do sort of look at Zion as the guy that has to do some of those other things. Like, yes, you're an elite scorer, but it can't just be isolation scoring. Like it can't be. It can't just be dumping down on the block or whatever. Like there's got to be more, or else you're gonna see the same thing you saw last year. It just might look a little better in a few situations here and there because you've added a better guard to the mix.
See, and that's the thing, Ross. I wouldn't say in sacrificing shots necessarily. I think you got to sacrifice your preference. You gotta sacrifice your favorites. You got to sacrifice your go-tos. You got to, not all the time, but at different parts of the game. I mean, it just that's
it's crazy. We're talking about it. Yeah, we're talking about a sacrifice. Like no one's going to look at Zion getting 3 more rebounds a game as a sacrifice. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, but they should go, right? Yeah.
Well, they should, but but that's not something that we're going to sit back and be like, Zion really sacrificed himself on the defensive end, getting 3 more rebounds. We're like, nah, he did what the hell he's supposed to do. Like, he did what we need him to do. And I
but
think
but he did what the team needed, right?
Yeah.
Same with Brandon. If we look up and Brandon shot six more threes, that's sacrifice, right? You're jumping out of your comfort zone, out of what you would like to do for the betterment of the team. And I'm saying across the board, from Zion, from Herbert rebounding, but from even Dejounte. Alito's mentioning Spurs Murray. Spurs Murray won't happen in New Orleans. It can't. He won't have that amount. He won't have that amount of usage, and he's playing with a whole bunch of different. He got to be a merge of San Antonio Murray and Atlanta Murray, and probably more Atlanta Murray than San Antonio Murray. You know what I'm saying? So like I get it. I don't think it's as simple as. And to Five's point, the coaching, when you say what's the goal, is what's the plan, and what are we talking about? What are we setting in stone in training camp? If we just lining up, running sets, and we're not talking about what this damn hierarchy is, well, this is a waste of time. If we just out here just playing basketball together and just whoever scores whoever, and we're gonna figure it out as the season goes, well, that's bullshit. You just buying time. You know what this roster set up right now, how this shit needs to go from top to bottom. Who's number one? Who's number two? Who's number three? And when the game is on the line, did you lie about acquiring Dejounte Murray for closing reasons and for point guard reasons? And you just gonna try to finesse your way out of making him go stand in the corner at the end of games? Or is he gonna be the one calling the shots and making decisions along with Zion? Like, I mean, those are the things that need to be answered. But we come back to the same thing. Do we really believe that the coaching staff and the people that are organizing this thing, do we believe that they have what it takes to make that happen? Because we don't think the staff went up to CJ and said, hey, bro, listen, we need you to shoot the most amount of threes you ever made in your life. CJ came out and said he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't expect Zion to come out and say, all right, I'm going to do this for the betterment of the team. I just don't yet. I don't think that's where he is. I think he might be able to be told to do that. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think Brandon's going to volunteer to say, all right, I'm going to sit out here in a contract year and score 18 points a game and shoot. I don't see it. So who has to do it? People that we don't believe can or will.
And to Chris's point, look at somebody like Trey Murphy that up until, what was it, like post All-Star break, he started getting rebounds out the wazoo. And what the fuck did he say? He said, my daddy said, I need to get the fucking rebound. Oh, my daddy got to tell me to get the rebound? Like, not the coach coaching me? So if Trey Murphy, the guy that doesn't have the rock, that has to play off other people, his father has to tell him, hey, Trey, you might need to get the rebound. If they're not telling Trey that, you think they tell? All right.
I think you're, and it's funny you just brought up Trey because we're talking about who has to sacrifice. I think going into the season and expecting Trey Murphy to sacrifice anything is setting yourself up for Trey Murphy to accept that qualifying offer or to bust your ass in restricted free agency, because I think he already feels like he's sacrificed enough. And I think of all of this stuff we're talking about with Brandon starting the season on the team, Herb first off the bench, I'm going to tell you who's going to be the most disgruntled out of all these people, and it's going to be Trey Murphy. And you're going to see the effect of that, I think, in his play. And we're not going to like the way it looks, but that's the situation that we've created for ourselves.
Ooh, it's going to get ugly.
It's kind of ugly right now if you think about it. Like this is a lot of disjointedness. There's like really no cohesion going on at this point. Like this shit could dog. Which way is up?
Alito, because part of the problem is that, and I'll say this: it's not that I don't believe that they're not telling Trey to rebound, right? I'm sure they have had that conversation. Yo, bro, you got deep, but is it a non-negotiable? And is it a non-negotiable? Do they have non-negotiables for everybody? I don't believe they do. Like, and I was gonna ask you, Lito, do you think? I mean, I know the answer to this, but do you believe the staff has non-negotiables when it comes to this group? Or will they?
I mean, it don't feel like it to me. I think that, dog, if your dad gotta tell you what it is you're not doing on the floor, and the people who are in charge of the organization minutes, player development wise, did not tell you that, if Zion is allowed to come into the fold, into the season every year since he's been here and be out of shape, start slow, and there has been no cohesion between him and BI. If BI is allowed to be the guy on your team who you want the team to shoot 43s a game, and he don't shoot, he go through spurts where he can't shoot 2 or 3 of them. How in the hell is a goal supposed to go for anybody else? If I'm Jordan Hawkins and I'm looking at that, who is in charge here? Who is running this shit? Who do I need to talk to? That's my thought.
I always laugh about the cohesion thing between Brandon and Zion. Like there shouldn't be cohesion between those two players, in my opinion. In a weird way. Like we talk about them like it's LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like there needs to be like a working, like these guys have to play well for us to do X, Y, and Z. Like those, like Zion and BI have a combined like 2 All-Star appearances. This is like in some ways similar to like the Bulls saying like Levine and Vucevic need to be cohesive. Like, all right, even if they are, it don't matter. Or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other like just sort of decent like combo. Decent example like Trey and Murray last year. Like they're good players. But Murray's not like, these aren't 2 perennial all-stars. Like these are 2 Hall of Famers that like have to be cohesive and have this like great, relationship on the court where things go great. Like Brandon isn't that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I mean, he's a good player. He's a good player. But no, Zion has to be great. Zion has to be Hall of Fame level, like great for this team to do anything. Brandon just got to get in, like, just got to be a teammate. I mean, I guess I'm always a little confused by this thing.
A little pushback on that, Ross. Just hell nah. They gotta be cohesive. They gotta be somewhat of a level of a great working relationship. If you're demanding that much money, like we talk about return on investment. If the 2 things I invest in can't be good at the same time, well then I need to rethink how I'm building this, because one doesn't complement the other, right? Like you talk about food references, like got red beans and rice. Like if the rice all soggy, it ain't gonna do shit for my red beans. I'm just be eating beans.
But isn't that what they're doing? Aren't they? Like it seems like we've seen that, they've analyzed it, and they now know that like these aren't 2 equals that have to work together. That's why they're trying to trade Brandon. They just can't. Nobody wants him. I think, and I guess that's the point I'm making, is that I don't need to see any more of that this year. Like Brandon for me is a team, should be a good teammate. He ain't a main. You talk about red beans. He ain't the beans or the rice. He's something else.
He ain't the beans.
Like he's a good player that has to be part of what we're doing, but not at like, I don't think he deserves like a seat at that table. And I don't that sounds harsh, but like this isn't a duo. I don't know how else to say it. Like this isn't a duo.
Man, hold on. We talking about somebody. You said harsh. No, it has to be harsh. It has to be honest. Like, who cares if it hurts someone's feeling about, like, bro, it doesn't work. Like, you don't work by yourself. Like, you don't get us to the playoffs by yourself. So the one that can, we have to find things that complement him. No, I don't want to see them on the court really together, too much this season, because I've seen enough. I have enough data. My eyes have told me already. I already had preconceived notions about it. Just been proven right, to be honest with you. They just need to move on and try to figure out a way to do so. someone brought up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. No, they don't. They're not running pick and rolls for each other, but one can shoot off the other one's penetration. One provides space for the other. Was that crazy? Yeah, that was crazy. Like there's opportunities, like when you watch the Boston Celtics, just the way they play. But that goes back to coaching and putting people in the right place and having an identity. Like, hey, no matter what spot you're in, this is what we're trying to do. And you need to have the skills to do so. When you look at Boston, like everybody can dribble, pass, and shoot, no matter what. No matter where they are on the court, they can all pretty much do the same thing. The Pelicans don't have that luxury.
Yeah, this is where I know you're not saying that, but like I'm just seeing some of the comments. Like Brown deserves a seat at that. Jaylen Brown has made 3 of the last 4 All-Star teams. Jason Tatum's made 5 straight. This is not like Brandon is not either of those players. He just isn't. I don't know how we've gotten to this point even after the last like 2 years. He's not that. He's a complimentary player. We have to call it what it is. He's a complimentary player, and I think doing anything to the offense to highlight, like to make him a focal point is a dangerous game that's gonna put you back in the same spot you've just been in the last few years.
So look, even if they didn't have chemistry, that's what like some part of this conversation is. Even if they didn't have, or if they just simply didn't have chemistry or synergy, whatever term you want to use, like their skills have to at least complement each other. I don't know if if Tatum and Brown are the, craziest 1-2 combination in regards to how they play together, but at worst, what they do on the basketball floor as individuals, it complements the other person's game. Like one can shoot. Well, they both can shoot. They both can drive. They both can create. They both can defend. That alone, as a duo, makes basketball life easier for the other. Because even if we don't have, if we don't work out together in the off season and we ain't the best of friends, I know what you do and I know what I do works really well when we play together. We got to figure out Boston. It's a reason Boston kept trying to figure out the others. They kept trying to figure out the other pieces around them because they said, all right, even if these two together can't go out and drop 40 a night and they can't go out and win playoff series by themselves with other talent, if we surround them with the right pieces, we can win as a collective. Brandon and Zion, we talking about 2 dudes, neither of them that want to shoot threes. In this era, how can you win that way? How can you win that way? Like we have to question or wonder if either of them will be excited about playing defense. We have a question about either of them. What will their rebounding look like? Like when you're talking about those crucial parts and areas and guys that need the basketball for the best parts of their game to really show out, I mean, no, they're not going to complement each other. And that's as big. I don't care about the chemistry element of it as much as they don't have the skills together to figure this shit out. Even if they wanted to, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we still playing 1998, 2004 Detroit Pistons. Minus the defense basketball, because it was just a bunch of mid-range jumpers on that team. So listen, first of all, there's 138 people in here. I don't know the likes. Somebody let me know the likes. But please, man, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we go live. So you always tapped in. Yo, I just found 2 hypothetical trades that Sports Illustrated created less than 3 hours ago. I was just gonna give y'all the scenario. Appreciate your game. 44 likes. It's 138 people. We got a 44 likes. The math just simply not mathing. It's just not mathing. I don't understand that. That you know what y'all doing? Y'all shooting 2s when you need to be shooting 3s. That's what's going on right now.
Y'all look like the type of people that don't speak to people when you walk in their house. Like, just hit the button, bro. That's so rude, bro. Just, hey, how y'all doing? Sit your ass down and watch the show. Like, damn, bro, hit the button.
I'm saying, bro. Appreciate that.
All right,
Lito so mad he took himself off the stream. Yeah,
All right.
Well, he said he had a couple hypothetical trades for us. Now,
All right, well,
I have no idea what just happened. But listen, but listen, check this out. I got 2 hypothetical trades. I want to talk to y'all about. See what y'all think. Damn, I just had it in front of. Okay, so all right, so check this out. The Hawks. Here it is. The Hawks get Jose Alvarado and Johnny Juzang in this trade. The Pelicans get John Collins, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Garrison Matthews, the 2025 second, the 2027 first from Minnesota, Utah, and the Jazz get, oh my God, Brandon, CJ, and Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller not even on the Pelicans.
just
So,
move on.
like, was illustrated. Wow. All right, so here's the other one. The Pelicans receive Karl Anthony Towns. Hear me out. It's about to get a little wild, though. They get Karl Anthony Towns, but they get Brandon, Trey, and Jordan Hawkins.
God damn.
Told you it's going.
What? What's the goal?
You know, like that to me is interesting. I have to think about it more because I think of Brandon as a sunk asset, like gone. For me, I don't attribute much value to the rest of his time in New Orleans. Like I think of him as addition by subtraction at this point. Jordan Hawkins doesn't play enough. Like he doesn't play enough, so it feels replaceable. I think for me to a certain extent. Like I like yes, there's probably upside, but like, is he gonna make it? Like, is he gonna really make a difference this year or next year? I don't know. I mean, maybe, probably not. If unless the roster changes. So in some ways, to me, it amounts to Brandon and Trey for Towns. I mean,
you sound like you might make the move, Rose.
I would need to look at it, but it's not a no. It's not. I wouldn't say no right as I sit here today. I wouldn't say no.
You consider it.
I would absolutely consider it.
Oh.
How many All-Star teams has Brandon made?
1.
How many's Trey made?
0.
Jordan Hawkins doesn't play. How many's Towns made?
A lot.
Yeah, 4.
Karl Anthony Towns, the best big man shooter of all time, most likely. I don't know. A big man that can space the floor around Zion Williamson sounds interesting. He just makes so much money that it's difficult. But like, I mean, look. Let me ask you like this: can Trey Murphy play the 3?
Yeah.
Like, it's his long-term position at small forward.
I don't think so.
It would not be for me, no.
Okay. Well, Zion Williamson is here for a while, and Zion ain't playing the 3. And in my personal opinion, he can't play the 5. And for more than like just some minutes here and there, like some fun lineup minutes. But like you're never like Zion's not ever going to play 20 minutes at center. If he does, I think it's a bad outcome.
Damn, man. Hold on, man. Cat, Dejounte, Zion.
But see, the 3-4 situation is because Zion really he's a power forward, but he's not really a power forward. You know what I mean? Like when Zion wants to, he can go out there and play multiple and guard multiple positions. Mm-hmm. So that takes away from necessarily being a power forward. And this is also assuming that his game won't evolve. We don't know. At some point, his game will evolve. Now, will he be a Pelican by then? Who fucking knows? And then with Trey, I think the positional argument is a little skewed. If we continue to see what he's been doing defensively and as a rebounder towards the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy, can play a decent amount of minutes at the 3. And if you're surrounding him in minutes with, in lineups with Herb Jones and Dejounte Murray, it might not matter sometimes what the fuck he's doing defensively. Just go out there and grab a rebound. We know what he can bring for you offensively. So I don't know about the 3 and the 4 thing. But I like what you're saying about Karl Anthony Towns, and I get that argument. I mean, that's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money for Towns. That's a lot of money. Would that bring you more answers or more confusion? How about that?
I think it definitely gives you more answers. For me, that's a no-brainer. It gives you more answers.
Damn.
Because it aligns the positions. The like pause. It aligns the rotation better, right? Like you now have guards and you have Zion and you have a center. Like I think that part for me is much easier. It gets you out of the potential headache of trying to solve the like Trey Murphy long-term extension thing. It gives you another like bona fide like I don't want to call him a star because I don't necessarily think of Towns as a star, but like it gives you another like somewhat elite player, or at least at their position. I mean, it ain't gonna happen, but but it's not a no for me. I like I said, I'd have to go back and like look at the salaries and what it would do long term. 5.
I think the Wolves would jump to this. I think it makes all the sense in the world for them. I mean, eventually they set themselves up to possibly move Brandon, but they definitely signed Trey long term and have him as a kind of a running mate for Ant, just a bona fide shooter. I think that's where they struggled last year. And Chris Finch just wants to shoot the ball. He doesn't love mid ranges. I think he had a rule like only 8 mid ranges a game or something like that. And Ant's going to take all of those. So the only issue is Brandon and how you kind of move on from him. But I think Minnesota loves it. For the Pelicans, it's just really a lot of money. And does it pigeonhole you to, this is all you got and you gotta work through this? To be honest, if you make this move, you have to move on from Willie. It's undoubtedly you have to do it because he's not creative enough. You have to give the reins to JB instantly because he's not creative enough to have, those two offensive threats to play off each other and maximize them. It's already, trouble in paradise now, but instantly you have a problem, and that's a lot of money attached to him. I think you need a new voice and a new, thought process of reasoning.
But even though there's a lot of money attached to Towns, you saw him take a step back this year. You've seen him from a maturity perspective own that, but publicly own it.
Yeah.
And I think he would do the same with Zion. That for me is part of the reason it's interesting is because I think it solves that tug of war that you have now. You would be bringing in like a sub alpha, somebody who doesn't isn't looking for that.
I kind of disagree. I think there's still some of that left to Cat, right? And Zion isn't the most boisterous person. Ant is. He's that demonstrative person. So even if Cat wanted to challenge him, Ant's ego would have never allowed him to get the one up on him. He's already a greater player. It took Ant to speak life into Cat for him to really accept his role. Zion's not doing that for Cat. Hopefully Cat will return the favor to Zion. I don't know if that would be necessarily true. You'd have to have those conversations, but it'd be interesting pairing. I mean, shout out to my dog Chaz. He was the first one that I had ever heard of kind of, pairing the two. And if it happens, that dude sees these things before they happen.
You know why I more than any other reason that I would like a trade like that? Because we would be fucking trying.
Yeah.
It would prove to me that we're trying. It would prove to me that they are going, they're making an attempt to try. Not making an attempt to stay relevant from a 8-7 seed above 500. For me, that would signal we're trying to put something together that would win something. as opposed to just bleeding this thing along a few more years until like 2 years from now when Zion's like, hey, this was all fun and games, like really enjoyed it. Y'all be good. But I'm gonna find something. Like so that for me would be like the most exciting part of it.
That was my bad, Chris. That was kind of my I guess my pushback for you, Ross, is that you said Zion's here for a long time. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I ain't gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? So
I meant on the book. I meant on the books.
Oh, all right.
But,
yeah.
But no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, to this conversation, and I think I shared this with y'all. I'll share it with the show. So someone sent this to me a couple weeks ago. Don't know how true it is, but could be gossip, right? Says other piece of Ingram gossip. Wolves want him. They want to replace Cat with Ingram, essentially think it'll put them over the top. But they can't find anyone to take Carl Anthony. Contract is that bad.
I believe every word of that. I truly believe every single word of that. Because I do actually think it would make sense for Minnesota. Like I don't. Yeah, I believe that to me sounds totally logical. Cat's deal is fucking bad.
Yo, let me give y'all the Sports Illustrated joint. Let me just give you a quote from the writer, and then we're gonna move on. There are too many questions surrounding Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and an aging CJ Mccollum for me to think about Dejounte Murray, who needs the ball the most to be effective. Will slide in and make everything right? That's kind of crazy. Murray might help. That's kind of crazy. Murray might help, but check this out.
Nah. Hold on. Look, it's not on you, Lito. It's not your fault.
No, he read it. No, he read it. He read it. I'm holding into the same standard we hold Justin to. He read that. He read that shit. He didn't have to read that.
He'll slide in and make everything right.
All right.
Hey, you know how you
make everything all right.
Wait, Ross, you know you trying to read and your finger on it, like your finger on a book, and you trying to like make sure what the next word. Yeah, like hey, I got caught slipping. I'm sorry. Hey,
what?
Hold on, wait.
Hey yo.
Wait, hold up. Check this out.
Thank you.
Check this out. Murray might help, but if the Pelicans do implode, we know something was in the water down in New Orleans a long time before Murray got there, and it wouldn't be his fault. The current construction of the roster is an odd one. Murray was a great addition, but the roster is not balanced out very well. That leads some people to feeling like as if the other foot will eventually drop.
What the fuck did he just say?
Yeah,
the end of that.
Part of it.
Read that again, starting right after the crazy shit.
Murray might help, but if the Pelicans do implode, we know something was in the water in New Orleans long before Murray got there, and it wouldn't be his fault.
Okay. Oh, okay.
The other part was like waiting on the foot to drop. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The current construction of the Pelicans roster is an odd one. Murray was a great addition, but the roster is not balanced out very well. That leads to some people feeling as if the other foot will eventually drop. I guess they're saying they got a foot in quicksand or whatever. The most likely outcome is a center trade around Brandon Ingram. Yeah, then he just gets into the logjam of players and redundancy and shit like that.
That motherfucker just watching the pie, bro. That's all that.
I'm about to say it felt like Yeah, man. Man, look, we're hour 24 in. You got 142 people. I hope we had like 60 likes by now.
No, we gotta come on now. We gotta at least be at 100. Come on now.
I hope we don't do us that, man. We be out here, we be working hard, man. I mean there's other shit to talk about, but I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. I'm tired. I want to get to some questions Okay, we got 70 likes. Shout out to Coach, shout out to game. We got 70 likes. It's a lot better than the 44.
There were some good questions. Why don't we take 5 or 6 questions?
Ooh, all right. Well,
I know we started some good ones in there.
Y'all want to go through and see? They got a lot. They got a lot started. So, all right. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna start out with this one. Oh no, never mind. That's not even a question.
Oh, 504 boy, appreciate you, big.
Appreciate you, dog.
What that is? What happened?
Boy,
$5.
peace.
Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. All right, let's see.
Here you go, Chris. I'll get it started. Chris, here you go. He said, Jameson. After talking about this team, sometimes I feel like I need a shot at Jameson. I think he meant Trey Jemison has to be good enough to start with Tice and Carlo coming off the bench with the current centers. In my opinion, if Tice starts, we won't make the play-in.
Why does Jemison have to be good enough to start? What has he shown to be good enough to do anything?
I think what the reader or what the whoever type what Jim is saying is that he doesn't think much of Tyson Carlo.
So he thinks a dude that's back on a what is Jemison a two-way again? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
For the second time? Has that ever happened in New? Like he left went to Memphis, played a little bit of minutes.
School teacher. Yeah.
Right. To be a substitute school teacher.
Yeah.
They didn't want him, and the Pelicans they really didn't want him either. But they said, we don't need nothing. We need a camp body. We know he's only gonna be part-time. He got to work the nightclubs at night. We'll bring him in and see. What are we talking about, Jim?
I kind of think this is I don't agree with the first sentence, but I agree with the sentiment. I don't think this rotation of centers is I think you're putting yourself in a very dangerous position to where the imbalance in the roster is so great that it's like a dangerous spot. Like, I mean, if I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but Daniel Tice starting is a bad outcome from this offseason. What's up, Lil 5? Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Lil 5.
Birthday, bro.
Hey, what's up, bro?
He probably
Yeah.
Like, it ain't my birthday, man. Y'all on some bullshit. But do you agree, Chris? Tice starting, coming into this offseason is a bad outcome.
I think it's a bad outcome, but I don't. They're gonna have to show me that them. Like, I have bigger worries on the team than how bad the center position is, and maybe that's just more of just how I value the center position. But I don't value it.
Chris. Speak to that. Like what?
Well, I mean, I worry about Zion being in shape. I worry about Brandon's situation being a problem. Him not being a fit. Because I don't even if they traded Brandon and it wasn't for a center, it wouldn't make sense to me. But I'd be like, okay, we can now move on into this next era, right? You know what I'm saying? So the Brandon situation currently, what's happening with Trey? When is he getting paid? How is Dejounte going to work into all of this? Who's coming off the bench? How are you going to have two starting caliber players come off the bench? Maybe possibly one that you're about to pay $30 million a year, and the other one who just was an all NBA. He finally got his first piece of end of the season hardware, and you're going to tell that guy after improving 42% from three, and he's your leader, and he got to come off the bench because y'all can't make better decisions? It's kind of crazy. I understand it. I probably have to do it, but it's kind of crazy. That's way ahead of the line. Willie Green, the coaches, all of that shit is way higher. The center position, they didn't care about the center position anyway. Larry Nance was playing 25 minutes and close. I don't think the drop off from Larry Nance, from Daniel Tice to Larry Nance can be that dramatic. I don't think that when they were healthy enough, the Jonas Valanciunas you saw, I don't think it's going to be that difficult to replace that. Now, the Jonas that played when guys were out of the lineup, that's totally different. But I don't think that when the team was healthy, what you got at Jonas is going to be that big of a drop-off, to be honest. And I mean, they just didn't care enough how they treated the center position in previous years anyway. So I'm not worried about – they got to have somebody. But if this season doesn't work, I doubt it's going to be – I don't think we're going to be talking number one. They did not address the center position.
Fair enough.
Real. Shout out
Hey,
to Space
Jesus.
Gravity.
Appreciate you, man. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
I think this is an interesting one. From just tweaking,
Yeah.
Trey Murphy or Dejounte will never be better than BI. Never. My response to that is, so what's your point? Like, Dejounte Murray makes significantly less. Trey Murphy's extension will be significantly less. I would consider both of them role players. Brandon Ingram wants to be a superstar and make $40-50 million a year. I guess I don't. Maybe like somebody else can take a stab at this. I don't know that I understand what they're saying. I also just disagree with it. I think, but
Okay.
I'm assuming he's saying as an individual. Maybe he believes Trey or Dejounte like won't average what Brandon did, or maybe we're still talking about the Phoenix series. And I mean, I don't know. He probably had to provide more context.
Okay.
you got one queued up, Lito? Or you want me just to keep rolling
Oh,
here?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you got it.
All right.
You got to be thinking that. You
I
got to
don't
be.
think he's wrong. I don't think he's wrong at all.
You got to be thinking that. You got to be. And if I was CJ, I'd rather be traded this trading deadline than the next one. You know, I mean, I think you're right.
5. Just tweaking again. We're acting like we weren't a 4 or 5 seed before Brandon got hurt with a top 10 defense without a shot blocking center. That's what we're acting like.
Yeah. All right, bro. I mean, that's cool. I think this team was good. I mean, even before Brandon got hurt, they went on a little run without him. They played well without Brandon. They were probably a 5 seed without him. I think they climbed up to the 5th seed without Brandon. I think that's when they realized, like, hey, maybe, just maybe, we can be effective without him. Even in your top 10 defense, I mean, that shit doesn't even mean anything anymore. You've been top 10 for the last couple of years, top 6 the last couple of years, and you still didn't, truly win a playoff series. So there goes that.
I thought this was an interesting one from our own Boot Crew stat guy. Is the 7 seconds or less offense prioritizing fast breaks and open 3-point shots the only way this roster works? Lito, what do you think?
Boot Crew stat guy, bro. I don't know, because they don't know. I can't give you the answer because the answer is incomplete. They don't know, because technically you don't even get the 7 seconds of offense. Like that don't happen much.
But in theory, but in theory.
So, okay, here's my thing. Even in theory, right, you want 43s a game because that's what the point of that is, right? Did you give 43s a game?
Technically, you could by doing this, right? Technically. But,
no, but do it happen, though? I'm saying, like,
you know what's crazy? For a team, well, I mean, we've all played basketball. When the idea is to shoot, you have like the unlimited array of ability just to shoot. If it's an open 3, you have that option to do so. And their reluctancy is almost like, I'm almost appalled by it. Like, you don't want to shoot open 3s? Like, that's not the goal. We just want to pass these up to take tougher shots. And the defense wants us to take those tougher shots. Like, it's just almost like we're going against the grain at this point. So to Leo's point, I don't know. I don't know if they shoot. Yeah, the objective is to shoot 43s a game, but their reluctancy to do so, their unwillingness to do so. It's like I don't think they do so even in this offense.
The irony. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I mean, I think the only reason in theory it works is because it plays to the strengths of all of your best players instead of Brandon.
Yeah, and that sort of appeals to me. Like, the irony is that I actually think if you're gonna end up having to play Daniel Tice like 20 minutes at center, this is unquestionably the best use of his like skill set. Like one of the things he can actually do is run. Like he can actually move, like sprint up and down the court. Like I think if you're going to get the most out of whatever a team with him playing 18 minutes a night at center is, like, it's got to be fast paced. Got to be. Anyway, a couple more. I think we all have a similar answer to this one from Cade, but Trey is good, but did we not see the plateau he hit this season? He went through a pretty bad slump for the first half of the year. Five, I know you've talked about this one a bunch, so go ahead.
Yeah, dude was coming off an injury. Yeah, had a bad couple months because he, tore his meniscus and had to have surgery and came back. Tried to rush to get back because the team was in fucking disarray. He had another guy, CJ Mccollum, that had a punctured lung. The team was going downhill fast, and then the Western Conference, where you couldn't afford to lose a lot of games, tried to hurry up and get back to his team because they couldn't shoot the fucking ball. Yeah, he pretty much stunk it up. But I don't think he plateaued. I don't think we've got 20% of Trey's ability yet in the NBA. We've yet to see it.
Yeah, I mean, after the All-Star break, he averaged, I think, 18 and shot 40% from three. So, I don't think saying he plateaued in the first half when he got significantly better in the second half is kind of a funny comment. But, my bad. I would say the last one for me that I had starred was this one. We won 49 games with Larry Nance playing a lot of minutes at center in a loaded Western Conference. Tice is an upgrade from Larry Nance. What do y'all think? My opinion here is you're comparing apples and oranges. I mean, Larry didn't start. I mean, he started some second halves, but Larry wasn't your like go-to starting center. So you're kind of taking the backup that played. How many minutes a game did Larry play last year? Somewhere like what?
30. No, I don't know.
Larry played 30.
No,
I would have thought like 18 or 20.
Yeah, it's probably 17, 18.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about your backup center and comparing that to Daniel Tice. I agree. I don't think there's much. Chris just said this. I don't think there's much difference between Tice and Larry Nance, other than the fact that we're probably going to ask Tice to start, and we wouldn't.
So, look. I mean, I think it comes down to: do you think you can get 20 solid minutes from Daniel Tice? Because to me, some of the best Pelicans basketball that I saw from them the entire year, ironically, happened when there was no center on the floor. And I'm talking later in the year, Golden State Warriors game off the top of my head. Against Steph, against Clay, against Dre, in a game that they needed to win. Like, I think it was on the second night of a back-to-back, if I remember correctly. But lineups like that, when they played the Phoenix game was a little bit earlier, and Zion was right. The game changed when they said, fuck the center position, fuck Jonas, fuck Larry. We're going to come out here with Zion, Trey, Herb, and you fill in the rest. Whether that was Dyson, whether that was Jose, whether that was CJ, and it allowed them when they were rebounding the basketball, and that was part of Trey Murphy stepping up, rebounding, Zion stepping up, rebounding, being in really good shape. They were defending, they were clicking, and they were hard to deal with because they kept getting in transition, and Zion was Zion in the open floor. But when shit got like rough, even, there was moments where I think there was a couple times where Draymond put Zion on the ground, but then towards the end of the game, Zion closed out the game. So those are the things that I think about. If you think you can get 20 solid minutes from Tice, and then 20 solid minutes from whoever else, a combination of whatever the else is, out of was Carlo, Jemison, whether it's, if you think it's Missy, you think whoever the other center, JRE, you name whoever the hell you think that other center, you think you can get 20 solid minutes, a combination out of those guys. I think with the strides they were taking with some of those small ball lineups for them can actually work.
Interesting. I got one more question that popped up. I think it's the best question of the night. So I want to kick this one, given the shirt you have on, Lito. Does Willie make it past the trade deadline?
I mean, he's got a contract extension. I'm gonna say no. You know what? I'm gonna say no. You got your bottom dollar, Tommy Jones. I'm saying no.
I think we can all get an answer to this one. I don't think he does either. In fact, I think I think the roster that they're giving him to start the season is setting him up to fail. I don't think he makes 25 games.
The jig is up there.
Chris, does he make it to the All-Star break?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, depending on the record, I don't think he makes it to Christmas.
Yeah, I don't think he gets 25 games.
Wow, y'all think this is gonna be a really bad year?
I don't think it has to be.
Yeah.
I think if you start 10-10, I think he gets the hook. Like I don't think it has to be 5-15 or something. I think it could look bad enough in 10-10, 9-11.
Okay.
Early enough to where it's at a certain point, Griff has to stand on the words he said. Like,
do we?
I don't know. No, maybe not.
You said that from a place of like you meant that.
I thought I might have believed it. Yeah, I thought I might have tricked myself for a second.
What?
Oh man. Oh man.
You been tricked. Oh, they got Rose. They finally got him.
Lito, close this
got
thing
him.
out.
We fucking
All right,
got him.
man.
Get me out of here. Get us out of here.
Where my theme music at, man? Oh, hold on. Shit, we gotta play this real quick.
Hey, I know you. You helped my cousin after her car accident. Ever since you won her case, she's been doing great.
Oh yeah, Melissa. She told me she had a cousin who works here.
What can I get for you?
How about a large hot coffee, please?
1 hot coffee for Mr. Scott Vicknair.
It's David.
Excuse me?
I'm David Vicknair, and this is my law partner, Brad Scott.
Hey.
Wait, so then which one of you is Scott Vicknair?
Scott Vicknair, injury attorneys, we fight for the win.
Shout out to the girls who are always confused. They're usually the most giving. So listen, hold on 1 second.
Audio Jungle.
Yeah. So listen, check this out. My 5 seconds, we doing a group project today. Check this out. I don't know if y'all familiar, but the U.S. men's basketball 3-on-3 team, them boys went to Paris and didn't win shit. They didn't win a game. I don't know if y'all familiar. I don't know if y'all familiar with who on this team.
No.
Right? I'm gonna just read y'all the roster. We're gonna do a group exercise. Y'all gonna tell me who would be y'all all-time 3-on-3 men's basketball team, right? On this team, though, you had Kareem Maddox, Jimmer Fredette, Canyon Barry, and Dylan Travis. Now, these 4 motherfuckers minus Jimmer are players that were created on NBA 2K. Those are not real people. Nobody knows who those guys are. I bet you these guys don't even have a mom. They were made in a lab and they were created to play and fail, right? Give me y'all 3-on-3, can't miss. It could be present, past, whoever.
Who wants to start?
I'll go. Shit, I got my answer. I'm ready. Let me know.
Well, you were prepared for this.
Well, go ahead. You put us on the spot. Why don't you go ahead?
All right. This is my 3-on-3. I'm starting Shaq. I'm going KD, and I'm going Steph.
I was going to go all current and say and basically have the same thing. Get Shaq out. I'll take LeBron. LeBron, KD, and Steph.
I don't know. I want to make this more difficult. Let's
do it. What you got?
Let's use college players.
Current?
Nah, pass, because half the time I don't know none of these dudes anyway in college right now. Pass. Like they were at their peak in college.
Hey, hold on. I like this answer because he'll bucket anytime. I really like this answer.
And he would be what, and that's what really would have made me think about it. Michael Beasley in college. Oh my God.
All right, who you got?
JJ, Michael Beasley.
Ooh, JJ.
And give me KD.
Okay.
I can just get buckets. at that point.
I definitely have KD, and I definitely have oh boy, we got drafted Jason Williams.
Yeah.
Jason Williams from Duke.
Yeah.
Not white chocolate.
Yeah.
I definitely have those two from college. And I'd have to think about who my third would be.
I'm gonna go Steph, Grant Hill, AD.
Anthony Davis, you said?
Yep.
So wait, y'all want to do technically the 3-on-3 roster has 4 players. Do you want add a 4th player? Just put bench
Yeah, you the 4th. It ain't gonna fucking matter at that point.
Yeah, you ain't playing.
True.
Yeah.
Well, Kareem Maddox played, so
Who the fuck is Kareem Maddox?
Frank from UNO could have played too, and they still would have lost all 3 games. It sounds like.
Shout out Frank.
Shout out Frank. Shout out Frank. Shout out Frank. Man, I really don't.
Go ahead, Ross. That's tough, man.
Fuck,
I'm trying to think. Selfishly, I'm trying to think of a white dude, and I'm struggling.
Adam Morrison right there.
Adam Morrison, yeah.
There you go.
Right there.
I'd probably take just like Larry. I'd probably take Larry Bird or something. I feel like he was killing people in college. Give me
There you
Bird.
go.
He's
Give me
white.
Bird is crazy though, right? You got it.
You know who'd probably be fired in 3-on-3? That was nice in college. Joakim Noah. He'd be probably really good.
Pest. Pain in the ass.
Shit, man.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Steph Grant.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that.
College. All right, so college. I'm gonna go. College. Give me Derrick Rose. I'm gonna take Steph. I'm going to add Steph to my team, and damn, man.
Like Rudy Gay was cold in college.
Rudy Gay was nice.
Yeah, man. I see.
Kemba. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying, man.
But you got Chris Webber, man. You got like so many really good college. Like you was thinking of white people. Why you say Christian Laettner? He like the greatest white college player of all time.
See, this is why
I feel like Bird would have killed.
Well,
you gotta say Larry. You can't keep saying you gotta add the Larry to the front of it.
Nah. Mom, add Larry in front of it. Is going to help me out. Might make it worse.
Yo, you was like, this Bird was killing him.
You just got a bad name, bro. Like, what? I mean,
some people just built bad, man. You can't. You can do about it.
That's the reason why I was saying. That's why I was saying about adding a 4th player, because on the real, my bench guy was gonna be Tyler Hansbrough.
He kind of falls into that Noah, just a pain. Why did one of y'all sound like y'all watched it more than me? Why did we send the 4 guys we sent? Like whatever. Like assuming we were going to send NBA players, that's all.
Yeah.
Good. Like I feel like I could make a couple phone calls and send us over 4 better than that of dudes that aren't in the NBA. What was the like I'm about to say the Isaiah Thomas thing. Like it's kind of when he was like I met the criteria. But I wasn't selected. Like, how the fuck were these dudes selected? Like,
they have been getting by with that, man. I mean, it's 3-on-3 is like a differently played game. So, who wants to just keep playing 3-on-3 and you're an NBA player? Like, that's not.
But you could have found non-NBA player there. Like the dudes playing, they got some of this cat like Beasley. Like Beasley's what in the big 3 or what?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they take some of those cats?
Nah, they're not doing. They're not doing that. They want people. That fall in line. Jimmer had been playing like the last couple of years. I mean, couple of Olympics
or whatever.
Yeah, like nah.
Yeah, but Jimmer, I Lito said it. Like, I don't know who the other guys are. Like, do they play? Like, do
How
they
much,
hoop?
Ross? Let me tell you this.
What's their background?
Let me read this for you. Dylan Travis. After a brief professional career overseas, Travis was working as a special education teacher in Omaha when he got the call to join the USA basketball team in 2022.
Time out. Who that sound like right now that's currently a Pelican?
Oh, you know who it is?
Jemison.
Exactly. Y'all think I'm bullshitting? At some point, you gonna hear that Trey Jemison is back. Where he from? Birmingham?
Yeah.
Mayor, they call him 5?
I bet he is gonna be a fucking somebody put FedEx driver. He is gonna be at Birmingham High, running the physical ed team, soccer, and goddamn cross country. I guarantee you.
Wait, Chris, hold up. Chris, 5, Ross, hit me out. This is the last thing I got. Kareem Maddox, right? Kareem Maddox. He played at Princeton and he spent a few years overseas, right? He is a podcast producer and NPR host. He currently works part-time in the Minnesota Timberwolves front office. That's who.
Like, there's no way. Who's old boy from UNO?
Frank.
No, actually, Bo. Like, there ain't no. I don't know who these cats are, but like, give me Bo McCaleb against some other guys like right now, today.
Yeah, this is I don't know, man, but ironically, NBA players can play in this. They can play because Jalen Brunson made a comment actually in 2022 about wanting to play in it, but whatever.
Yeah, I'd take your 3 best college players. I mean, this just seems like what they pause. I'd have the 3 best college players, play on this team or 4. Just would make the most sense, and then you build up their brand while doing so. I don't know why you wouldn't go that route, but
man, that's all. Go ahead. Hey, actually, I was supposed to be in Paris for real. Anyways, Paris is not a nice place. I don't know if y'all ever been, but anyways,
get us.
That's all I got. Huh?
Somebody get
That's all I got, man. That's all I got, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. We appreciate y'all pulling up. We'll see y'all. I don't know, shit. Who knows?